finished off our corset in terms of we've stitched in all of our channeling lines, which is wonderful. Also now we're starting to feed our boning into our corset channels, okay, every single one. Unfortunately we have already put the boning into this corset because we lost some of the tutorial footage, so we're just going to show you again, but the process is very simple, very easy. First of all though, I'm going to talk to you about boning and different types of boning and how, well, what they're used for and possibly how they might affect your corset. Okay, so I'm just going to put this to the side for a minute. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about different types of boning. Now this is metal spiral boning, and you can pick it up from most specialist kind of corset haberdasheries, or you can get it online. It's absolutely fine. This is all in this Excel document that I've attached with these tutorials. It's got all this information in here to help you. This stuff is absolutely fantastic when it comes to boning your corsets. It lasts a very long time for lots of reasons, really. Also, it's got fantastic flexibility, both horizontally and also, you know, kind of vertically, let's say, which is wonderful when it comes to making really kind of extreme corsets. The only problem is that you can't shape it very easily. If you want to shorten this, you would have to basically get a pair of pliers, cut it off and then recap it with that little tip. And also the reason why it's not particularly great for this kind of corsetry is because you see how you have this point here? Now this bone would feed down into this point, and unfortunately we can't shape this into a point, and so you'd have this area which would be a lump here, and also this area just wouldn't have anything in it, and so this is not the best way to use it. I haven't actually tried cutting it to shape. Possibly there is a way you can do it. I haven't actually tried it. I don't know. Maybe have a look online. So for this corsetry I'm using Ridgeline, but let me continue talking about this stuff. It's quite expensive. You can get it on a continuous roll, or you can get it in sections of this size or small or whatever else. You can also buy the caps yourself, and you can get a machine to basically put the caps on. I haven't bought one because they're very, very expensive and I don't use this stuff a lot. What else can I say? This is amazingly strong. Also, this stuff doesn't degrade. You see the tip of this end here, it's nice and smooth and round. Basically, when you put boning in your corset, and if it's a very strong tight lacing corset, it's under a lot of pressure, and the bones are under a lot of pressure as well. So at the bottom here, if you're using anything else, like for example Ridgeline, this has a very, very sharp edge, and I'll come to that later, but this can actually puncture through the material and start to rub on your body or start to destroy your corset, whereas this won't, because you have this really nice smooth solid edge. This will never degrade. It's wonderful, okay? So, let's move on to Ridgeline. Okay, Ridgeline is what I like to call like a toiling boning. Basically, it's very, very cheap. You can pretty much cut it off wherever you want to. It's very easy to use. You don't have to spend a long time using sheer pliers to cut it and to recap it. It's pretty flexible vertically, but horizontally it's pretty useless, to be honest. So it's okay, but it's not the best stuff. It's great for toiling. Also, this kind of solves our problem when it comes to these pointed channels. Okay, it's very easy just to get a pair of scissors and to cut your point. Okay, very, very simple indeed. Also, use some crap scissors because it blunts them very easily, but mine are blunt anyway. Also, as I was saying before though, there is a problem with this stuff that it tears apart very, very easily. Okay, you see that? It just shreds apart, and these are very, very sharp points which will then eventually degrade your corset and also stick into you. There is one way to fix this, so let's just cut that point again. In fact, let's just do the end there. Okay, is to get a lighter and to use the very blue part of the flame, and I can't talk over this because I blow it out, but to literally just to melt the very bottom. Okay, don't set it alight like I've done, but just to very carefully melt that bottom bit, okay, and to smooth it with your finger. This will not only help it kind of go down the channels so it doesn't get stuck from the sharp edges, but also this will help protect your corset from these basically splitting open and starting to rip your corset apart and also stick into your skin. This is only a temporary measure. It does eventually start to come apart quite quickly, so I wouldn't use this for particularly strong or tight lacing corsets. It's more for like elasticated power mesh corsets that are more lingerie based rather than you know, kind of solid double layer corsetry. So, but you can play around with it anyway. So yeah, as I was saying, the great thing about this is that you can actually form those points, which is very, very helpful. And literally, it's harder to melt this on the diagonal, but with a bit of practice you'll kind of get the hang of it. Okay. Very, very simple. Also, with both of these types of boning, when it comes to measuring them out on your corset, obviously you could just get your roll and stick it in and then cut it off at this end, but it's nicer to actually measure it properly. Okay, so all you'd do is you'd get your end. Normally you would melt this end first and make it, clean it up first, because sometimes melting it can reduce the length of it. Okay, so melt it first, and then get it to the very point at the end, just there, and then like a tape measure, you would just lay it over your channel all the way up to the top, like that. Okay, that's a little bit too short.